Computer. Okay, we're recording, Mario. What a challenge getting
finally
the technology working from the other side. We've had blackouts and power outs and all sorts of things. But anyway, we're here now, so great to connect with you over in Mexico. So how is Mexico over there? I mean, we want to cover a few issues here, but just generally, let's just start off with the pandemic and the energy in the area. What's the feeling like over there?
Well, I have the feeling that everybody is experiencing different realities. You see people in the streets really living a terrible the pandemic stuff, and there's people that is just not going through it. So I would say it's really mixed up. And it's a weird times because what is in your mind is what it becomes your reality. So a few people is really having a bad time.
Yeah.
They're stuck in their homes, and some people is just walking out in the streets. And as far as our police service is not that strong, I would say. So if you don't want to follow the rules, nothing happens. So there's people that is not following the rules, people that is following the rules. I would say it's a combination of apocalyptic times and vacations.
Yeah, it's definitely strange times we're in, and we're going to be talking about toad and everything soon. But just on that issue, Australia's going through some changes at the moment too. We've got out of things pretty lightly over here. There's only been about 110 deaths or something, and Victoria, though, is just experiencing what appears to be a second wave, and they've just yesterday mandated that everyone has to wear a mask in the whole state. So, and then they're going to start fining people if they don't. So it's really, it's going a bit crazy over here as well. So look, I won't talk a lot about the pandemic because that's been part of everyone's reality for a while. I want to talk about toad issues and WBAC, the World Bufo Alvarius conference coming up soon, which you're the main organizer, and so I guess just give us a little rundown of how that's going, and then we'll branch into some issues in Sonora Desert and about the toad. So. When does the conference start? Is it in-person gathering or is it online event?
Well, I have to stop first that I start talking. I will always say that this conference was a seed that you planted in my head.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you said that we should gather all the people and start talking about the issues. Like, I think it was the first time you came to Mexico City. So it was a seed that went into my mind and developed in what WBAC is. So I wanted to thank you, and thank you also to Rag Razam, who has been one of the main leaders of this conference too, that he has been part of the founders too. And yeah, I just want to tell you that, and I want to acknowledge that in public because it was a good idea.
Yeah.
So what's happening with the WBAC? Yeah. So what's happening with the WBAC? Well, as you may see, the pandemic is not really allowing us to host a lot of people. There's a few attendees. We are still having a few people in person. A few speakers are going to giving their lectures inside, but everybody. I mean, the main idea is to put it online. We're receiving lectures pre-recorded from a few speakers all over the world. There's gonna be a few people that is gonna be live, and there's gonna be presenters that it's gonna be there. No workshops this year, no events around it. So it's just gonna be the lectures and a few concerts between the lectures to make it more, enjoyable. So it's gonna be basically a mixture between an online and a small percentage of people that is going to be in the facilities. So that's what's going on with WBAC. We're asking for the people if they want to buy tickets for the online attendee. That would be good for the Congress. This year, I thought that would be not a good idea to make it, but then we talked with the family. We're putting all the efforts together to make it, continue for the continuation of this. So this is an effort more as a continuation for the WBAC than making a big project, but there's still going to be good information. We've been gathering good people all over the world that is going to be sharing lectures, ideas, and I guarantee that the information that we're going to share, it's going to be like a TV marathon about toad, talking about toad, lectures, concepts, a few panels. So it's going to be all about the toad for that weekend, and it's going to be online.
Great. I saw some of the I saw some of the speakers, and it looks like a great lineup of people, like talking about non-duality, about fair trade toad, what's going on up in Sonora, the different panels. Martin Ball's coming in at the end. Some Mexican practitioners talking. It looks like a great lineup, and I'm really excited to watch it. And also, invited to share my little talk as well that I just posted over. Did you receive that okay the other day, Mario?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Okay, because I'm just about to sail off. I'm in my boat now at the moment, and I'm just about to sail off with the whales to do some work up there. So happy to share that, and look forward to looking at the rest of the speakers on at WBAC. Looks like a great lineup, so look forward to that. Can you tell me a little bit about just what the feeling is like in Mexico in relation to the evolution of the toad medicine there? Like, I know it's one of the few places in the country, in the world, where it's legal. Are you having many teething problems with such a powerful medicine being quite easy accessible?
Yes, I would say the best problem at this point is the integration problems. I mean, there's problems. We have been, dealing with problems with the unethical collection, and we have been doing some work over there. But exactly the theme this year is integration. What is happening now? The people is getting access to the medicine really easy, really cheap. There's a lot of scams through internet, that people that is selling people the medicine, but there's people that is really achieving the medicine. And what is happening? We need to understand that this powerful tool or this powerful medicine should be part of a protocol, right? Should be part of a treatment of mental health treatment, the way the people is trying to use it, because if the people is trying to reach, there's like few approaches to it, like the psychonaut approach, or the medicinal approach, or I would say the biotechnological approach, which is using the advanced functions of your brains. But I would say, how is the people getting close? How is the people approaching this medicine? The people, it's trying to heal. They have traumas, and there has been a lot of promotion that if you have this experience, you will heal your soul or whatever, right? But what is happening now? The people buys a couple of grams on the internet, and they start promoting their groups on Facebook, and they start serving this to the people without the proper pre-screening or the proper integration. This time, I am not going to talk about the problems of serving of the ceremony of the session. I am gonna talk about the big problem that we're facing now, that people is having reactivations, people is having not closed their circles. There's people, that there's people that after having the experience, that the people that cannot integrate this experience, they start having suicidal thoughts, they start having psychotic breaks. And here it's happening really, I would say it's because there's too many people taking the medicine. So the cases are going up of the people that is not going is not being able to integrate, right? Because like I said all the time, if you want to blow your mind, go buy the medicine. You have the right to put in your brains whatever substance you want to do. But putting in other people's brains the substance, you should be very responsible of the integration. You are responsible. If you light the pipe on, you are responsible for the process. So the big problem that we're facing now is the lack of integration and the lack of professionals that can be able to help the people to integrate these experiences, right? So if you ask me what is the real problem around the toad, is the problem with the integration, the people that is not guided after the intakes, they haven't the reactivations, they haven't, because, you know, this is now in Mexico, we call the Russian game, when you put the bullet on the gun, the Russian roulette, right? You can get the bullet too, because if you are not prepared, if the people that is serving you, or if you are not prepared to integrate the experience, bad things can happen to you. And I am not trying to scare anyone, I am not trying to, you know, to tell the people, do it with the facilitator or whatever. I am not going to touch that point. I am going to touch the point that you need to be supported by a therapist or a community that can understand what is happening with you after the intake. Because if you're going to a ceremony in, let's say, in a city in the middle of the country where the facilitator comes in, hits 70 people and go, and the people, it's unattended after, that's where the problem comes. Because there's a lot of people that can have a beautiful experience, but there's people that is not going to be able to integrate it. So that's the problem to me.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I see that a lot on the Toad page that I administer. A lot of people coming on saying that they've had an experience with some fly-in shaman or just served it themselves, and they don't know how to integrate. And you know, just the other day I met with someone who hadn't slept for a week and just didn't know where they were, and you know, it's a very strong medicine and has to be you know, really respected, and yeah, so you know, there's lots of points that I mentioned on the Toad page, like minimum serving requirements, and you know, how to do research for your facilitator. So you know, I think that's a problem that's going on all around the world, and you know, people really need to do their research about, you know, who they're going with, because the facilitator can tell if you're ready for the Toad too. You know, like sometimes the trauma is best worked off in ayahuasca or some other way, you know, rather than going straight in with the heavy gun. So yeah, lots of issues with integration and that at the moment. So what process, I mean, what do you do? Like, you must have a lot more people suffering the integration issues over there. Do you have integration specialists that you can send people to? What happened?
Yeah. Yeah. Now we have to try to develop I don't know how to call it, because we're trying to develop it, but it's like the Guild of Mental Health Practitioners that will help you to integrate psychedelic medicines. I don't know, it's a long name, but the idea is that we're working on it. And the idea is to educate to the therapists to help the people. Yeah, we have a few therapists that is part of the family here. David Gallegos is one of them. We have Beto. But the thing is that we need to understand that when you smoke the pipe for the first time, it's going to start a process, right? And it's not just an in and out thing. And you need to be supported by a mental health professional or a shaman or whatever you want to call it, but you cannot be alone. I think in the past, when the people were used to go to consume this medicine, I don't think they just go one weekend or one evening, take the medicines and go back home. I think that there should be a shaman or a medicine man or whatever you want to call it that would be what we call the mental health professional now, because that could be like the person that can do this work to help you to integrate. So we need to understand that this is when you smoke the pipe, you start a process. And you need to understand that you have the possibility to have reactivations or to have problem sleeping. What I see that is the problem is that when you don't finish the work while the ceremony or the session, it's gonna hit you again and it's gonna make you do the work. And if the people start resisting going into those realms or in those state of consciousness, you're gonna have to do the work. I mean, and if you start resisting it, you're gonna start having problems. Another thing that I see all the time is that as the consciousness expands by the intake of the medicine, now it's like this. You go to the ceremony or the session and you realize that you are not living with the right person, or that you have to change your work, or that you have to change your style life. So your consciousness increases, but you don't do the changes. Now the consciousness is not going to let you sleep, you know, because now you're not being congruent with what is in your heart. So when you take this medicine, you expand your consciousness, and if you don't do what it is, the cricket that you used to have right next to your ear now becomes a lion that doesn't let you be the old person that you used to be. So I would say that the problem, the anxiety problems that comes after the intake of the medicine is because the people is not doing what they have learned in the medicine process.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really really a valid point. You know, it's not just about taking the entheogen and having that experience. You've got to actually implement what you're being shown in that experience. Otherwise, you actually can go backwards, you know, and things can get harder. So, you know, if you're asked to be a vegetarian or do more meditation or whatever, then you have to do that. Otherwise, when you go back in again, it's like, well, you know, I just told you what to do and you didn't do anything, and you just get hit harder. So, you know, it's a good point. Now, I'm really curious to know what's going on up in Sonora. The monsoons are probably about to start if they haven't started already, and the toads will be coming up out of the ground. And, you know, with all that 5-MeO they've sort of stored in their darkness retreat under the earth. But, you know, when I was up there a few years ago, I witnessed, you know, some collectors not really respecting the toads and taking them away from where they pick them up, and then ranches starting to pop up around the place. What's the situation up there now? I know it's dodgy, and I certainly don't recommend anyone going there, because I was actually pulled over once at gunpoint by some mafia up there that you know, it seems like a very dangerous situation. So are the toad collectors being more respectful? What's the story on the ground up there?
Well, I would say it has splitted. There's collectors that have been more respectful. Some collectors adopted the fair trade toad regulations. Some of them did it. Some of them changed their behaviors. Some of them not too. And the real problem is that just today in the morning, I did an interview for the radio, for the local radio in Hermosillo, because they were receiving calls of people asking, what does the toad looks like? Because now in Hermosillo, the monsoon started now, and the people is looking for the toads, to be honest, some for their own consumption, and some people because they want to do business with it. So now we don't have 6 or 7 mafia guys trying to, you know, control the situation. Now, the regular people that needs money, if they see how much does the gram cost, they are collecting and selling through Facebook. And I think that's the main problem now. It's like, to me, it's like the Pandora's box has opened. And the only way to stop it is via consciousness, is to increase the awareness and the consciousness of the people that is collecting and the people that is buying that, you know? Because the problem is that if there's people that is buying that, there's gonna be people that is gonna keep collecting it. So now, to me, I think it's an uncontrollable situation, because they see that if they can make a few dollars with it, and there's no, to be honest, there's no much opportunities, there's so much work. They can make with a gram what they can make in a week sometimes. So I would say that's a real problem. And the people is looking, it's trying to sell it as a commodity. And the other problem that I see is that the people have been saying that this is a magic pill, you know, that you smoke this and your life will fix up, and nobody talks about the dark side of the toad, which is the misuse of it, you know, it's the lack of responsibility to it. So at this point in Sonora, there's a lot of people collecting and selling it through the Facebook pages and stuff like that, because it's legal.
Can I just come in on that, Mario? On the Toad page too, I've seen we don't allow anyone to sell on the page or promote themselves as a facilitator because of various concerns to, you know, to protect people, but also to protect the toads, because, you know, there have been, you know, I know there's some unscrupulous collectors out there. And also we've had some reports too where some collectors or some people are selling fake medicine that looks like toad medicine that's been cut with ice or whatever, you know, and having some really negative, dangerous responses. So, you know, I definitely want to put a warning out there to people to know your source. Don't just buy anything off the web, because it could either be collected really disrespectfully to the toads, but also it could be laced with something like, you know, that's not what you want, and it could be very dangerous as well.
The usual thing that they put in the medicine is sugar, but that's the best scenario, because they're cutting it with meth, sugar. They're putting a lot of stuff on it. So really, it's important to know your source, and it's important that the community validates a source that we may know that is an ethical source. I know you have been deep in the guts of the medicine world, and I know that you have realized a lot of the bad things that happen to the toads, right? So I would say that the action that we have to do is to increase awareness. And I thought that the medicine would be, you know, enough to make the people understand the importance of this. But when the money comes in the middle, sometimes the people just want to buy it for less to make more money. And that's when the problem starts. We need to understand that this is sacred.
Yeah. And that's one other reason why I always suggest to go with a facilitator, and a facilitator who knows the source, because it's difficult just for your average person to know, you know, especially they might say, oh, has it been collected respectfully, when you're going to buy it on the net, and they just say yes, and it's like, well, you know, how do you know? But if you have a relationship with a facilitator that then has a personal relationship with a collector, and they can somehow confirm that, then that's obviously better. It'd be better if we could get like that fair trade stamp on it, but I know, you know, that getting that together is just a nightmare. I mean, I saw it at WBAC last year. You know, one person got up and say, "Oh, this is taking away our Indigenous rights," and it's like, "Oh my God, we're back to square one again." You know, so how's fair trade toad going over there? I mean, it must be a nightmare to try and sort out. There's so many issues related to it.
Well, the last thing I remember about the fair trade toad was one guy came and told you that he was going to kill me. You know, to be honest, it's just Me, I personally am outside of the toad, the fair trade toad project, because I found it very, problematic, because there's where the big problem, when the money comes in the middle, that's where the problem starts. So my friend Fernando, another friend that is in the States, that I'm not able to reveal the name because, security purposes. They are doing great with the with the fair trade toads, but they are becoming more like a, let's say, like a club that you can only go in if you are recommended with some people, and they are not making big sales. They're not making big money, but they are trying to do the good way. So the fair trade toad is going on. Eventually, it's gonna happen. But the thing is that when you and Rack and all the family came, it was utopia. No, we went to the desert. We tried to do it, but human condition, brother. It's unbelievable when the money comes in the middle. Brother. And then when the people is in need, I don't blame them. When they found the way to make money, I don't blame them. But yeah, I would say it's happening slowly. It's happening. It's gonna grow, and I hope it's gonna increase awareness and consciousness about what it is. But I would say I am not part of that project anymore. But we're fine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Look, I wish you all the best, and who's working on that. All I can do is support people to know their source and just trust that somehow the toad will find a way. There's also a lot of people now, including facilitators, are starting to use the synthetic 5-MeO, and I have used that a few times and found that that it still takes you straight to God. There's a little bit of difference around the edges, but at least we don't have the issue of traumatizing the toad population down there, or contributing to mafia monies and whatever. So I guess that's one option that's still available. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would like to add something to that. I would never say that it's good or bad. I mean, actually, I think it's a powerful technology too. But the only thing that I don't agree is that the people say that it's the same. It's not the same. It's not gooder or badder, but it's different. And I would say that we need to respect that. We need to respect that line, because saying that the toad secretion is the same that synthetic 5, it's just not true. Yeah. I mean, you can and it's not better, but it's not the same. It's just different, and it has its purposes. To me, the 5-MeO DMT is like the function, the brain that it has is to open. You know how I see it? It's technology. It's a technology that ejects you to those realms, that open the portals to those realms, right? But with the toad secretion, there's a few, components extra that is not better, but it's not the same.
Yeah, and there I noticed.
But I think, but I think it's an option too, for decreasing the abuse of the toads and stuff.
Yeah, and I noticed on the WBAC workshop, or not workshop, but one of the talks, I noticed you've got discussions about the difference between the synthetic, or the pure molecule, as I prefer to call it, versus toad. And it's an interesting conversation, and one that happens a lot on the Toad forum page as well. And it is very interesting, and in my gratitude, I send gratitude to the toads, and also to the lab technicians too, for being able to pull this molecule out of the universe and give it to us. It's a blessing. But we still need to look after the function, the well-being of the toads, and I think that's very important. And I'm happy that you and others are working on that in Mexico. So, yeah. So, Mario, I've got to do a lot of work on my boat to get ready to sail off in a few days. and I'm sure you've got lots of work to do with WBAC that's coming up in a few days. So anything else you want to say about WBAC, and people can buy their tickets online now?
Well, I would say that WBAC will need help this year. If you are able to buy the online attendee, that would be awesome, because that will help us to pay the expenses. But eventually we will release it free for everyone. So please buy because at the end, this information is to be released, is to be shared. You know, the people that has no money to buy the tickets, we will release it for free. We will make it free and available for everyone. But if you have the possibility to help us buying an online attendee, that would be very good for our finances, because this year has been a tough year and a rough year. So if you can go to the website and click buy the online attendee, that would be good. And we will be very grateful for that.
Great. And the website is WBAC, WBAC.info. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. And there's some great speakers there. I've just been through the list, and it looks fantastic. And if I can get some breaks between, you know, sanding the timber and fixing up, tightening the rigging, I'll make sure that I'm checking it out as well. It looks like a great gathering. Anything else you want to say about Mexico and WBAC before we go off on our own journeys?
Mexico City, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Every time you can come. Next year, maybe we will be able to receive you all at the WBAC. We have a beautiful weather all the year. We have all the medicines available, a lot of medicine people, a big community, and I'm grateful to be here in this city. And I want to invite you to come to know our beautiful country. We're full of plant medicines and entheogens, great people, and I know you have been, having experienced that. So I'm so proud of being Mexican, and we're waiting for you. And about WBAC, this year is gonna be smaller than other years, but we hope that we can make it bigger next year. And who knows? We have been invited to make a version in Europe that will, allow the people that do not cross the ocean to come here. So thank you, Dean, first for your friendship, and also for being a lead model role for all of us of how to be an ethical man. I know all the job that you have been doing all these years, and impeccable, brother. Thank you for being a model, a real leader for us, and thank you for being part of the community.
Thank you. And so people can actually come, if they're in Mexico, they can come physically to the gathering at the Crown Plaza, or they can watch online. You have
but at this point, we're not selling any more tickets for the present. There's only online tickets. Yeah. We're receiving some people, or some prison attendees, because the government is putting us too many rules. They're putting rules of how many people we can gather. So we have enough people to. We don't want more presence attendees.
Yeah. Okay, great. Well, thanks, Mario. All the best, and I look forward to seeing you, or seeing WBAC, and also getting over to Mexico next year. I know I've enjoyed coming to Mexico, and thanks for introducing me to lots of people when I visit over there. And hopefully next year I'll be back over there, and we'll be doing another facilitator training with Hari. That would be great. I really enjoy those gatherings. So we'll see you in Mexico next year if I don't see you before, and look forward to WBAC this year.
Thank you for having me, Dean.
Okay.
And thank you.
See you, Mario.